please.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Willie Safer.
I'm Harry Reasoner.
I'm Ed Bradley. Those stories and more tonight on 60 Minutes.
There's more to its new looks than looks alone. Cougar. Attractive as it may be, its very form helps it aerodynamically split the wind. Its nitro-cushion suspension system helps it master its environment. Cougar. No other car functions like it because no other car is formed like it. Cougar from Mercury.
Come on, son. Here he goes.
Scared?
No.
Begin an adventure that'll let your imagination soar. Come discover the excitement of stamps. There's no end to the journeys you'll take when you collect U.S. stamps. The people you'll meet, the achievements you'll be able to share with others for years to come.
That's just like the balloon we were in.
Yeah, so come to the post office and discover stamp collecting with the commemorative issue celebrating ballooning.
Early next month, the Senate Permanent Investigation Subcommittee will hold hearings examining fraud and waste in the Navy's shipbuilding program. That's a problem said to be all too common in defense procurement, but it's one that is difficult to pin down. Well, a variety of people have been trying to do just that, pin down charges of fraud and waste at the Ingalls shipbuilding division of Litton Industries. These allegations were first called to our attention by a citizens watchdog group called the Better Government Association. But now the Senate, the FBI, and the Navy itself are also looking at Ingalls. May 16th, 1981, a big day in Pascagoula, Mississippi, where the locals and various famous folks from Washington turned out to celebrate the christening of the first of a new class of guided missile cruiser, the Navy's $1 billion CG-47 Aegis cruiser, the Ticonderoga. Defense contracts for the Ticonderoga and other warships mean big money for the Ingalls shipbuilding division of Litton Industries. Almost $750 million in Navy contracts in 1982. But some people inside and outside the company charge that Ingalls has been using workers paid for by those Navy contracts, workers who were supposed to be building the Ticonderoga. Ingalls has used them instead in another of its enterprises, the construction of oil rigs for private companies. While you were working on the civilian oil rigs, to whom was your working time billed?
The time was billed to the Navy contracts, the CG-47 contracts.
This man has worked for Ingalls for several years. He asked us not to show his face because he's afraid he'll lose his job. Why would Ingalls do this?
And the fact was that maybe they underbid on the contracts, didn't have the hours, and there was plenty of hours in the Navy budget, so the time was charged to the Navy budget.
He was not alone, he says, for in 1979 and 1980, in just one section of the company, he told us he saw the work time of 15 employees, all of them working on commercial oil rig contracts. He saw their time being billed instead to Navy, cruiser, and destroyer contracts.
I don't know how high up it went, but the people that I worked for knew it was taking place.
How do you know that?
Because they told me to charge to the Navy contracts.
Senator William Roth heads the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations. He told us that as recently as 1982, by getting the Navy and the taxpayer to pick up part of the tab for those commercial oil rigs, Ingalls was fattening its profit.
It's very simple. If you can get away with it, you're reducing the cost of your private business and enlarging profits in that area. So you're really stealing from the government is what it amounts to.
That's not the only allegation we heard of Ingalls billing civilian work to Navy contracts. Johnny May worked for Ingalls for 6 years, most recently in the Material Support Division. He was fired last year for stealing from the company, for submitting false invoices for material he had not purchased, and then keeping the money himself. But what Johnny May told us, several others also told us, that as late as 1982, all employees in their section were instructed to sign blank time cards.
Up till about 2 months or 3 months before I left, I never seen what my card was filled out to. I would sign it and hand it in. All employees did the same thing. They signed their cards and hand them in.
And what happened to those blank time cards? Johnny May says they were used by management personnel to charge the Navy for work done on civilian oil rigs. One of his supervisors filled them out, he says, according to monthly schedules that planned in advance which contracts employees' work time would be charged to, regardless of what they were working on. May showed us one of those monthly schedules.
K.M. Ratliff, who's he?
He was my boss, section manager over material, the boss of all these people.
I see. And he knew what was going on?
Right.
C.A. McDaniel.
McDaniel was, at one time, a supervisor. He attended the rig meetings every day, same as myself, to find out problems.
Now, he was ostensibly being charged to the Navy for working on CG-47.
That's correct.
That's the Aegis class.
Right.
When, in fact, he was...
attending rig meetings every day.
He was working on the civilian oil rig.
That's correct.
Same with Muller?
Muller also.
Right.
Vivian Smith worked pipe, strictly rigs. Joel Watford worked machinery for the Navy contract.
Down here is B.A. Hart.
Right.
He was your...
group manager. The sheets come from his office.
So what you're saying here, Mr. May, is that out of 4 people working ostensibly on Navy contracts, 3 were actually working on civilian contracts but being paid for by the Navy?
That is correct.
We asked those employees about Johnny May's story. B.A. Hart told us he had never ordered employees' time to be charged to the Navy while they were working on civilian oil rigs. McDaniel and Muller said they worked on those oil rigs some of the time, but not a lot. Vivian Smith refused to comment. But Carl Ratliff, who no longer works at Ingalls, told us that he had been instructed to use those monthly sheets to bill employees' time to the wrong contracts. And according to Johnny May, those weren't the only instructions that came down from management. He told us that one of his supervisors warned employees when Pentagon auditors were on the way and ordered them to lie about the work they were doing.
Well, we were told if the auditor asked, you tell him you were working on the contract, which we had been charging you to.
Despite those instructions, Pentagon auditors did find out what was going on. In fact, a November 1982 Pentagon audit showed that Ingalls charged almost 60% of employees' time in one small area of the company to the wrong contracts by juggling charges between Navy and civilian contracts. They recommended the practice be stopped immediately. But that wasn't the first time those Pentagon auditors took issue with Ingalls' bookkeeping. Back in 1981, the DCAA, the Defense Contract Audit Agency, investigated Ingalls' cost accounting practices in some areas of the company.
And they determined there was credible evidence to substantiate their suspicion that Ingalls was billing civilian work to Navy contracts. In addition, they said they believed the problem existed throughout Ingalls' operation and that the cost impact could be substantial.
And why haven't those defense auditors taken action against Ingalls to prevent that false charging? Senator Roth.
What bothers me is that I think you have this atmosphere of getting the job done now on schedule. To hell with cost. The fact that the Navy has auditors down there, they have a contracting officer representative, they got scads of people. I'm not just critical of the practices at Ingalls, but I want to know what is that contracting officer representative doing? What are these auditors? Why aren't they taking steps?
The folks here at Ingalls, when they learned of our investigation, sent us a letter which said, in part, we again emphasize our interest to cooperate with you in a story being developed that directly or indirectly affects our company. Our reputation of working openly with the media is a matter of record, and we invite CBS and 60 Minutes to take advantage of this professionalism in media relations. Well, having said that, they declined to appear on camera. They declined to permit us to tape record any interview. They declined any still pictures. They declined to permit us to talk to the people inside Ingalls that we wanted to talk to. But the top executives of the company did agree to answer our questions with a court stenographer present to make a verbatim transcript.
In that interview where no cameras were permitted, Ingalls officials told us it was against company policy for employees to fill out blank time cards.
But what about those time schedules that Johnny May told us were used to charge employees' time to the wrong contracts? Ingalls management told us that perhaps they had been misinterpreted by employees. And about the billing of engineers' work time on commercial oil rigs to Navy contracts, it was done, they said, by one of our engineering administrators against company policy, and when we found it, we refunded the Navy the man-hours charged to them, $16,200 worth. We stopped it while it was happening. Well, the Justice Department did not agree. Recently, they sued Ingalls and settled out of court for $140,000 for just part of that commercial oil rig work that was charged to the Navy. About all of our questions on false charging, Ingalls executives said, things go wrong, but it doesn't have anything to do with the policy of this company in terms of fraud. But Ingalls' charging of civilian oil rig work to Navy contracts isn't the end of the story. There are allegations as well that Ingalls was charging work done on one Navy project to other Navy projects. In the 1970s, the Navy awarded Ingalls a number of contracts to overhaul nuclear submarines like this one. But former employees charged that Ingalls was trying to hide high costs and poor performance on those contracts by shifting time charges from one submarine to other submarines. One of those employees was Donald Segalis. He told us that after a total of 7 years' employment there, he was abruptly fired for refusing to sign time cards that charged his work to submarine contracts that he had never worked on.
From April of 77 till I was fired in December of 77 was on the hull 1210. That's an Ingalls hull number, 1210. I never worked on another hull to my knowledge.
And your time was charged to what hull?
Okay, it was charged to hull 1209 sometimes 1210. I think even 1212 and 1213, which I don't recall if 1212 and 1213 had even arrived at the shipyard yet.
According to Don Segalis, Ingalls had a history of charging work to the wrong contracts. His wife Sharon, who worked as a secretary in the same department, told us that her bosses had ordered her to fill out 30 or 40 employees' time cards, according to wherever there was extra budget money available in Navy submarine overhaul contracts.
They say, fill out the time cards and divide these hours up among these people. Well, that's exactly what I did. I used up 1209. I didn't have any idea who was working on it. They never told me who was working on it. I would fill out the card.
You mean just arbitrarily? You would pick names out of a basket?
I was told to, use up the budget.
But if the shifting of man-hours between those submarine overhaul contracts didn't cost the Navy more money, then what was the problem? Well, by trying to make it look as though that overhaul work was on budget, Ingalls managers could appear to be more efficient, more cost-effective. And that could mean higher incentive fees, bigger profits, and possibly more Navy contracts. But it didn't work out that way. In fact, we have learned that as a result of extraordinarily high costs and delays on those submarine overhaul contracts Don Segalis told us about, the Navy has decided not to award Ingalls any future nuclear submarine overhaul work. Ingalls executives told us they had no knowledge of any cross-charging between those submarine overhaul contracts. They say Don Segalis was fired for leaving work early one day without permission. But it wasn't just between submarine contracts that Ingalls was mischarging work. It was also between cruisers and destroyers. Senate investigators have found that between 1979 and 1981, Ingalls charged 15,000 man-hours of work done on the Ticonderoga, the Aegis cruiser. Ingalls charged that work instead to Navy destroyer contracts.
People will be working, let's say, on the Ticonderoga down there. That's right. And it's running over. And they'll put those charges against a destroyer rather than the cruiser.
Senator Ross told us that by juggling those time charges, Ingalls might qualify for maximum incentive payments. That's additional profit given shipbuilders who show on-time, on-budget performance.
If they can make all their contracts look good by improperly passing some costs from one contract to another, they're getting a fee, a profit that they're not entitled to. It also helps them, let me be very candid, sometimes, believe it or not, they're in competition with other facilities. And if their figures on a particular destroyer are shown, then it puts them in a competitive advantage that's not fair. The thing that bothers me equally is the fact that in trying to decide whether to buy more of these cruisers or destroyers, you need accurate costs. And if the costs are understated, then both the Congress and the management of the Pentagon are basing those decisions on false information.
Another thing that worries Senator Roth is that some of those defense dollars paid to Ingalls went for luxury items, nice to have, but not vital for national security. Documents obtained by the Better Government Association revealed the Navy purchased lavish furnishings for 2 guided missile destroyers built by Ingalls. Example, a couch for the officer's wardroom.
Evidently, the commander of the ship did not like his furnishings and decided that he wanted to buy a new couch and some furniture and some carpet.
Russell Gill is a lawyer who served till last year as the assistant counsel to the supervisor of shipbuilding in Pascagoula. That's the Navy office that had to approve all of those extraordinary furnishings. According to Gill, whatever the commanding officers wanted, the commanding officers got.
How much did he spend and for what?
Well, he spent $14,000, I believe, for a custom-made leather couch.
Custom furniture.
Right.
Wall covering, $1,900. Drapes, $2,400. Custom brasswork, $6,500. Prints, accessories, lamps, custom dining room chairs, $16,000. $45,950. And this is basically for furniture for the captain and the wardroom.
That's correct.
We got one case, USS Kidd, where they spent something like $90 per yard of carpeting. Now, most people think they're getting the best if they spend something like $30. We have another case where $14,000 or $15,000 was spent for a bookcase and planter. You know, you can buy some pretty nice things a lot cheaper than that.
It was the Navy and not Ingalls that was responsible for the purchase of those luxury items. And incidentally, the Navy purchased those items from another subsidiary of Ingalls' parent company, Litton Industries, without any competitive bids.
Over several weeks, we repeatedly asked the U.S. Navy to talk to us about this whole affair. We offered to give them specific documents so they could fully understand the allegations being made. The Navy declined to make available any of their personnel, either to talk about specifics or about general Navy policy on materiel procurement.
But 2 months later, after endless negotiation, and on the condition that no cameras would be present and no identification made as to who briefed us, the Navy finally answered some questions.
Navy officials said about the carpeting business, $92 a yard did seem like a lot of money. Considering the requirements for fire retardants and for durability, what we've been able to find out indicates it is not outrageous.
I just find that unbelievable, Mike. Would your wife be able to go out and spend that kind of money? Let me give you an illustration. I was told that a Navy captain down at Ingalls said, if it doesn't cost $10 million, it's not worth 10 minutes of my time.
About all those lavish furnishings, the Navy now admits the extravagance and says it will not happen anymore. Regarding Ingalls, Navy officials told us they had no knowledge of any cross-charging between Navy contracts. As for the Navy paying for some of those workers on civilian oil rigs, Navy officials acknowledge that took place. Some of the money has been refunded to the Navy. But how much more cross-charging, and whether there was any criminal negligence on the part of Ingalls' top management, they said, is a matter for the FBI and Navy investigators and for the courts to decide.
We know that it's happened at Ingalls. We have some evidence that it may be happening elsewhere. What concerns me is what aggressive steps is the Navy itself taking to stop it?
Well, tell me, what aggressive steps is the Navy taking to stop it?
Well, I haven't found those yet. I'm still looking.
I'm about to convince you to buy the new Atari 1200 XL home computer. It has 64K memory, like Apple IIe, for about $400 less. Sorry, Apple. 5 times more software than Commodore 64. You're outranked this time, Commodore. Texas Instruments, you don't have on-screen self-testing or a health key. Take your hat off, Texas Instruments. The Atari 1200 XL, the convincer.
Our vacation is going to be so lovely. Our flight, however, is a pitch.
At American Airlines, we think an enjoyable vacation starts with an enjoyable flight. So when you fly us to Hawaii, the Caribbean, Mexico, Brazil, or any of our many vacation destinations, we give you nothing but our best. Real American Airlines, doing what we do best.
You're about to meet something unexpected.
A family car designed for the driver, not just the family. Marquis from Mercury. This Marquis has the nitro-cushion suspension, so it gives you more than a smooth ride. It gives you a keen sense of precision and control at an unexpected price, under $9,400. The trim new Marquis from Mercury. Low annual percentage rate financing available on Marquis and other selected Lincoln Mercury cars.
Tonight on Goodnight Beantown, Jenny's ex returns to claim his daughter and discovers Matt.
You're an adult, I'm an adult.
Yeah, but this has nothing to do with adultery.
Then, is Newhart headed for the White House?
We'll come back to Vermont whenever we want.
How?
Air Force One.
And will Louise let George Jefferson buy into a singles bar? Then on Alice's new night, Linda Lavin plays a double role as Vera's cranky landlady.
Come on out, you fat mill!
Then, with Trapper and Gonzo in Mexico, can Jackpot handle the hospital? Tonight.
The Different Drummer could be subtitled Only in San Francisco. What makes San Francisco especially different this weekend is an election next Tuesday to decide whether the city wants to recall, in plain English, to fire the mayor, Dianne Feinstein. In most places, the only way to get rid of a mayor is to vote against him or her at election time or through impeachment any time if the mayor behaves scandalously. But in San Francisco, if you just don't like the way the mayor parts his hair or wears her pearls, and you can get only 10% of the people who voted in the last election to sign a petition, you can force the mayor to face a recall election. The city's harshest critic and its biggest booster would agree it is a quirky place where the city itself and each of its citizens marches to the sound of a different drummer. San Francisco is, in its own special way, a wonderful city with a brassy, elegant, and sleazy history, the stuff of legends. But San Francisco is a living legend, a non-stop theater of the absurd, a place that never lets you forget where you are. In a certain way, San Francisco is a unique democracy. Every man, woman, every practitioner of every sexual preference is king or queen. Just to get a taste of San Francisco politics, Sister Boom Boom. He proved that when he ran for Board of Supervisors, his name and costume were not liabilities.
I'm a former supervisorial candidate.
How many votes did you get?
23,124.
23,000 votes. Campaigning as Boom Boom.
Campaigning as Sister Boom Boom, none of the above. People have been wanting to vote for none of the above for a long time. It's what supervisor, what politician really cares about your needs and interests? None.
Some more austere places might consider this democracy gone haywire. Anyway, from just these few scenes, love it or hate it, you get the idea of what San Francisco is like sexually, socially, and politically. Meet Madam Mayor, Dianne Feinstein, subject of the recall.
Recall means throw somebody out of office. And they do this not because there's been any scandal, not because of any malfeasance, not because of inattention to duty, not because of any corruption or scandal or any kind of non-performance of duty. This election is brought by a small group of people called the White Panthers. They do it because they've differed with me on my position that guns should be controlled in San Francisco.
Meet Tom Stevens. His White Panthers, which may number as many as 20, are responsible for all the fuss in San Francisco. It began when the mayor tried to ban handguns. The White Panthers believe in the constitutional right to bear arms. Even Stevens, who was sent to San Quentin for 3 years after firing shots when police raided his apartment, and who calls himself a communist, wants that right. He wrapped, or tried to wrap, City Hall in a copy of the Constitution in order to make his point.
When we were trying to protest this gun ban, we brought this banner down to show the supervisors. We figured it was large enough so myopic as they are on the subject, they would actually have to see and read the Constitution. They took cognizance of the Constitution. Unfortunately, after they took cognizance, they called the tax squad immediately. And the tax squad guys had to tromp up the stairs with handguns, by the way, and make sure that the Constitution was removed so the supervisors could go on and pass their gun ban, which they did.
The gun law was passed by City Hall, but was ultimately thrown out by the California courts. Stevens, claiming to speak for all the poor people, decided he would teach the mayor a lesson in democracy San Francisco style. Out went his ragtag members from party headquarters, this vacant lot, to start signing petitioners up for a recall on grounds of her position against handguns. It was very slow going until last December, when the mayor offended the homosexual community by vetoing something called the Domestic Partnership Bill, which would have made the live-in partners of homosexuals who were city employees eligible for the same fringe benefits that married couples receive. Suddenly, the recall petition started filling up with names, 35,000, each for his own reasons, never mind the gun issue. The recall cat was out of the bag.
What you have here, in my opinion, is the tail wagging the dog. I think the positions that I've taken, which are controversial positions, whether it's the veto of the domestic partnership, my support of gun control, are ratified by a majority vote of this city. So if you have the minority that can come forward and bring about a period of instability and maybe even chaos with a number of different mayors following before the election is consummate, I think it does become a kind of abuse of the system.
But if you can look at this for just a moment, I know how difficult it must be, not as the victim of it, but standing aside, it is fascinating and almost the purest form of democracy going on right here.
Well, I guess it's fascinating if you're not the subject of it.
Whether or not we like it, we've got an election on our hands, and the issue is not handguns, it is not the White Panthers, it is whether or not we want Dianne Feinstein to continue being our mayor.
She made commitments 4 years ago. She has broken all commitments that she made 4 years ago.
The Panthers, plus a vocal part of the homosexual electorate, plus everyone with a particular passion, began marching under the recall banner.
You don't have people being unable to afford the transit tax because the mayor refuses the tax downtown to pay for their fair share.
Then I go sweat.
I mean, that's an extreme position.
Parking meters and meter maids were cruel and unusual punishment to some. To others, it was public art. The public art haters were given a chance to more than just grumble. There was this thing and that thing and the other thing the mayor should be blamed for. And to thoroughly confuse matters, there's next Tuesday's actual ballot.
Help Mayor Feinstein defeat this crazy recall.
To vote for the mayor, you must vote no. To vote against her, you must vote yes.
Maybe you should vote for the recall and try to get her out of office, because I think that this woman has not been doing her job. And I think that this...
Even seasoned San Franciscans are baffled.
Mayor Feinstein has done wonders for her city. She's built buildings,
especially if you're a big business person. She's done wonderful things for big business.
For big business?
Is there anything else anyone wants to put on the agenda?
You must be joking. Everyone in this city has something for the agenda. This is a loosely formed association of people who disagree about just about everything. They call their coalition Citizens for a New Mayor. The Panthers, who started it all, are excluded, which suits them just fine.
Most of those groups have a complex matrix of what they say privately, say publicly, and say quasi-publicly, and we have stopped even trying to keep track of it. It's all just a bunch of hypocrisy and opportunism to us.
Each member of the coalition marches to a different drummer. Each has his own gripe.
San Franciscans for Public Power was involved in trying to municipalize our local utility here in San Francisco, PG&E. Mayor Feinstein fought that.
Basically, we support individual rights over government control. And Feinstein has consistently supported more and more government control in San Francisco.
My particular interest is housing, the high cost of housing in San Francisco. Mayor Feinstein's policies, her loopholes that she maintains in tenant protection laws, her support for downtown expansion, which destroys housing. It's not a policy that's oriented towards the needs of the people of San Francisco.
The mayor is openly supporting
the dictatorship of Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos of the Philippines.
But the mayor of San Francisco doesn't have a foreign policy, or does she?
That's just the point.
Well, we are primarily concerned about her attitude about historic preservation.
Then there's Peter Buxton, another member of the coalition. His special passion is guns. Ban guns, and the next thing they'll ban, he says, is swords. He also likes swords. You would think of all the people on the coalition, Buxton would agree with the Panthers. Wrong.
Do you agree with them about anything?
Yes. We're having a lot of rainy weather here in San Francisco. I think we could agree on that. No, Tom Stevens is a fascinating person. Unfortunately, he is a political albatross around the neck of the recall, which he himself has started. This is basically the situation that many of the gun owners find ourselves in now, and many people do not want to take any stand on the issue because they do not want in any way to be associated with communism, with people with long hair, people with beards, and who maybe look like, let's say, Charles Manson.
But what about that gun law? Remember, that was the subject of the Panthers' recall petition.
I signed the petition. I signed it for my own reasons. I have no interest at all in the gun control thing.
Do I support the gun law? Personally, yes. Yes, I do support the gun law.
Well, as it always happens, politics make very strange bedfellows.
Are you dismissing these people as the crazy fringe, or do they legitimately have something to say?
Oh, I think they legitimately have something to say, yes.
Now what I'm asking is, that being the case, is a city like San Francisco governable?
Well, obviously it's governable because I've governed it. We're not in deficit, we're in surplus. We're not decreasing police, we're increasing police. Our crime rate isn't going up, it's going down. Our schools aren't getting worse, they're getting better. The quality of life for individuals is going up. We're not decreasing transit, we're increasing it. The city is governable, and I have governed it. If you're asking me, can I please all of the groups in this city every day of the week, or sometimes even one day of the week, the answer obviously is no.
Well, what's
the city is governable. I'm not being recalled because of any incompetence or malfeasance. And that's what's hard for me on a personal level to accept.
You feel...
See, I've got to do...
You feel let down by the city in a certain way?
Oh, yes.
There's a personal slap to this.
Oh, yes, no question.
There's no question the body politic is divided about Mayor Feinstein. Labor, ethnic groups, and the homosexual community, too. It was the homosexuals who made the difference in her first election. Now some of those 200,000 voters are having second thoughts. They're led by Tim Wolfred, an elected San Francisco Community College board member.
We're concerned about things like police violence, concerned about violence against gay people in the streets, fag bashing that goes on regularly. Concerned that we have proportional representation in city government. All things that she promised us 4 years ago are at this point saying, no, we cannot endorse you at this time.
I think it's outrageous that we should dump Dianne when Dianne has been the most progressive mayor in gay rights in this entire country.
As we said, the homosexual community is split.
People would think we're crazy in Houston. They think we're crazy in St. Louis if we threw out this mayor.
Leading the pro-Feinstein homosexuals is Randy Stallings, president of the Alice B. Toklas Democratic Club.
First of all, anyone who's worked with Dianne Feinstein knows that she hasn't promised us the world. She runs the city from the center. She is a moderate.
Connie O'Connor, a lesbian and a lieutenant in the sheriff's department, also supports the mayor. She says those against are whistling in the dark.
And they have a fantasy that Feinstein will be defeated and someone more progressive than her will come into office. And I don't feel that that's going to happen.
I've governed this city, and I've governed this city with strong majority support.
I believe in you. I don't want anything except what you're doing.
Indeed, there is plenty of support for the mayor. At the Glide Memorial Church, for example, had a service that is vintage San Francisco. The Reverend Cecil Williams preaches on her behalf.
First of all, I am convinced that the recall is an injustice against the mayor and the citizens of San Francisco.
Will you help? Will you vote on April 26th? Will you vote no on April 26th?
What is it about San Francisco that they're able to recall a good mayor? Is the city especially...
Well, you don't know they're able to recall a good mayor yet because the election hasn't taken...
Able to force a mayor to face recall.
I think people who signed it had a concern or may have had a beef with me or may be displeased or maybe their bus didn't come on time that morning or they didn't like what a police officer did or the manhole cover is on incorrect or they didn't like my position on this issue or that issue. All of that is quite conceivable. If you're saying what is there about San Francisco, I'd have to answer in this way. It's one of the most diverse cities in the world today. There are many different people who live in this city, each one of whom marches to the tune of their own drummer.
The pollsters say Mayor Feinstein will beat the recall in a big way. But if she loses, she's got only 10 days to pack up and get out of City Hall. The president of the Board of Supervisors would then become mayor until the entire board selects an acting mayor who would serve until the regular elections in November. That's only 6 months away, so why the rush? It's hard to say, but that's the way it is, or could be next Tuesday, April 26th in San Francisco, California.
From Radio Shack, the TRS-80 Model 3. And at $200 off, it's a great value. Select from Radio Shack's huge program library to aid your children's education, plan your personal and household budgets, or to entertain with fast-action games. You can even learn to write programs. The TRS-80 Model 3, on sale for $7.99, only at Radio Shack and Radio Shack Computer Centers, the computer experts.
Announcing a first. Car repairs guaranteed for life. Now, your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers guarantee their work for as long as you own your car. You pay for a covered repair once, never again. Because he'll fix it free. Free parts, free labor. The lifetime service guarantee from your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers. No one else covers so much for so long.
60 Minutes, a CBS News weekly magazine, will continue.
Monday on Archie Bunker's place, Harry's having an affair, but now that Archie knows, everyone knows.
What does she look like?
How should I know she was naked? Then on Foot in the Door, when Jonah babysits Mrs. Griffin's nephew...
I'm bored already.
Jonah could use a little watching himself.
Break it up down there, I'm not jumping.
2 great comedies, Monday.
Tomorrow on CBS.
First bank to bring you banking convenience across the American West now brings you banking convenience across the Pacific, because First Interstate Bank is now in Hawaii, so you can cash a check or get instant cash almost anywhere, from Diamond Head at Waikiki to the beaches of Maui. Isn't that a nice arrangement from First Interstate Bank, where banking across the West and now across the Pacific comes with the territory?
This man is an exception. You'll find him at Alexander's. He's the man who demands what he's worth. A suit expresses it. The cloth
cut, choice, and impeccable tailoring. You demanded, we demanded. Alexander's demands the demanding man.
If you demand real quality, we want you to know we're demanding just like you. Our name goes where you go.
The Alexander's suit. The exceptional is not the exception.
KBCI TV 2, Boise.
Tomorrow night, New York City's Lincoln Center honors Sir Laurence Olivier with a retrospective of his films. Tonight, a retrospective of our own. When we caught up with Sir Laurence, or Larry as they call him in the theater, he just finished writing his memoirs, Confessions of an Actor, and he reluctantly agreed to be interviewed. We say reluctantly because being interviewed is not his cup of tea, but neither was acting in the movies, he thought, when he first arrived in Hollywood.
I once said, I was to my own horror as it was coming out between my lips. I heard myself say, I suppose this anemic little medium can't take great acting. The whole set laughed, burst out in an absolute thunderclap of laughter.
The time was 1939, and the movie was Wuthering Heights. Olivier's role as Heathcliff made him an international star. Olivier says his success was due to the director William Wyler, who knocked him down to size. Wyler gave him such a hard time that Olivier appealed to producer Samuel Goldwyn for sympathy.
Sam Goldwyn came on the stage, and I thought, well, if I sort of sidle up to him, limp up to him, he's bound to say, Willie, this poor actor. Oh, let's be on his side a little, shall we? And as I approached him, sure enough, he held out his arm to me, like that. I thought, oh, God, this is working better than I ever imagined. And he said, Willie, if this actor goes on playing the way he is, I close up the picture. Will you look at that actor's ugly face? It's plain, it's dirty, it's hammy, it's stagey. I don't want a part of it. Take him away. Boy, what a stripping down was there. And from that on, I took everything Willie had to say. Out of the ashes, he emerged a film act.
Olivier has said he doesn't know any longer when he's acting and when he's not. His wife says she knows he's acting all the time.
Should I wear these things?
Did you like?
I don't like.
This, then, was the performance that Laurence Olivier gave for 60 Minutes.
60 Minutes, Laurence Olivier, roll 2.
Acting for Olivier is, above all, a game.
It's a game of make-believe. I mean, originally, it's just like a nursery game of make-believe. In a way, the essence of it is that. I'm going to pretend I'm a fellow called Hamlet. I'm going to pretend I'm a fellow called King Lear. Lear is... I'm sorry, it's regrettably easy for me, because now, in my crusty old age, I'm almost exactly like him. I haven't the majesty, of course, but I have every other characteristic of Lear. Unreasonable, impossible, stupid, stubborn, and I'm sorry, that's me. In Hamlet's time, I was much more like Hamlet. I had all those qualities, all the weaknesses, particularly. And I think, if you can recognize, I think that's a little secret for the actor. Use your weaknesses. Aspire to the strength.
Olivier was born into an English middle-class family in 1907. By the age of 28, he was acknowledged as the foremost classical actor of the British theater. He had the swashbuckling good looks of Errol Flynn and a style of Shakespeare that was less poetic and more realistic than audiences expected, a style that influenced a generation.
Oh, let the door be locked!
Olivier's film of Hamlet, which he produced and directed in 1948, won him Academy Awards for Best Film and Best Actor. He brought to the role a sense of physical danger, a danger that here was all too real.
Then venom to thy
You made that jump.
Yep.
What happened to the double you jumped on?
Poor fellow. My shoulder hit his jaw and it knocked him out.
Why should I care? Why should I let it touch me? Why should they stare?
Archie Rice, the degenerate vaudevillian in John Osborne's The Entertainer, was as far from Hamlet as he could get. Of all his roles, Olivier says it is his favorite.
I have a go, don't I, ladies, eh? I do. I have a go.
Playing his daughter in the movie was young actress Joan Plowright, who was to become his third wife.
Why should I care?
21 years and 3 children later, they are still happily married. In the 60s, Olivier was made director of Britain's first national theater, and Plowright played in many of his productions. She has seen him through 3 illnesses, serious illnesses, including cancer and thrombosis, which laid him at death's door.
Oh.
But Olivier suffered another disease which was not made public knowledge, a disease that all actors dread. After 45 years in the theater, when he was almost 60, Laurence Olivier got stage fright. How bad was it?
Complete breathlessness. Constriction in the throat, of the mouth, of the tongue. And just the whole world closing in upon you. And it spread to my horror into Othello, and I started giving a sort of hooded performance, not wanting to face the audience, trying whenever possible to turn my back on them, turn my face away from the audience, saying to that wonderful Frank Findlay, beautiful actor, my Iago, don't leave the stage. Please don't leave it. When you get into that entrance downstage right, stay there where I can see you, or I'll run. It's like that.
Thus do I.
Olivier's agonies of stage fright went unnoticed by the critics, who found his performance stunning.
Farewell. Farewell, the neighing steed and the shrill trump, the spirit-stirring drum, the ear-piercing fife, the royal banner, and all quality, pride, pomp, and circumstance of glorious war. And oh, you mortal engines whose rude throats the immortal Jove's dread clamors counterfeit, farewell!
You're not the hard drinker you once were, are you?
I was never a hard drinker. I was a
you talked about having to,
drinker.
You had
I drank.
Stopping for a year?
I'm getting explosive now. You can see that
There are these people who say, you know, Lord Olivier is just the peerage.
If only he didn't...
No, they just say, he's really one of the boys. He loves to take a drink, and he's got some barroom language.
I'm afraid the last is true.
When you were awarded a Doctor of Humane Letters, Noel Coward said 4 letters?
Yes. Yes, Doctor of Ordinary Letters, it wasn't. He said 4 letters, I presume. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Would you do anything over?
I don't think so. One, is it H.G. Wells had a wonderful line to somebody who asked him that. Do you believe in another life, Mr. Wells? And he said, he had a little thin, rather thin voice. He said, no, thank you. One life's quite enough for little old H.G. Well, I think one feels like that.
It used to be easy to build a sedan for the American family. Just build it big. Now it's got to be big and small. Front-wheel drive is a must. So is fuel efficiency. This is the latest variation on that theme, the Dodge 600. Well stocked with advanced technology, backed by a 550 protection plan. But we at Dodge took one extra technological step. We made the Dodge 600 affordable. These days, that seems to be the toughest engineering feat of all.
Now on other select new Dodge cars and trucks, get 9/8 financing or cash back.
Of the 3 national brands of ketchup, one ketchup wins this test. time after time. And one ketchup wins this test, too.
Seeing is believing.
And when tested in homes for best taste, this same ketchup won again. The winner? Heinz, of course. Heinz. It is America's thickest, best-tasting ketchup.
Nothing like an Egg McMuffin.
There's only one place you can get an Egg McMuffin. And now you can get it for just 99 cents. Just 99 cents for
a hot buttered muffin with a nice fresh egg and Canadian-style bacon and cheese.
Have an Egg McMuffin, please.
It's America's favorite breakfast sandwich. And now it's just 99 cents.
Nothing like an Egg McMuffin.
And now there's nothing like the price.
McDonald's and you.
Noel Coward once asked, why do the wrong people travel when the right people stay back home? Andy Rooney thinks it's because they've been seduced by the travel brochures.
I've got a batch of travel brochures here. It's never been absolutely clear to me why people like to go away as much as they do, but there's no doubt about it. Americans love to travel. The only thing better than taking a trip for me is coming home from one. The people who write these travel folders live in a world of their own. They make every foreign country in the world look beautiful and exotic. Scenery's always magnificent. The water's always crystal clear and blue. Never any polluted water in these travel brochures. And they're filled with scenes of natural wonders, too. Apparently it never rains in any of these foreign countries. I've been looking at travel pictures in brochures and magazines since I was a kid. I don't think I ever saw a rainy day in the National Geographic. The travel agents and airlines all have special plans. Tahiti holidays, 7 days from $699. Bora Bora holidays, 7 days from $911. New Zealand holiday, 14 days from $1,741. It's that from you have to watch out for. If you believe that's all it's going to cost you, you could easily decide it was cheaper to go away than to stay home. The natives are always dressed in colorful costumes, according to the pictures in these brochures. Guard is always just changing at Buckingham Palace. You'd think everyone in these faraway places went around looking like this all day. When you actually get to these places, everyone is dressed just like you are. They all look like they come from St. Louis. My favorite travel advertising is for Hawaii and those exotic islands in the Caribbean. The girls in the pictures are all built like Bo Derek, wearing little tiny bathing suits. I've been to some of these places. I don't know where they all go when I get there. I've waited in Waikiki. I never saw a girl like this there. And none of the guys look like him either. I guess the travel business hasn't been very good lately. I say that because you never see any crowds in these pictures. The beaches are almost always empty. Just you and a girl in a bikini.
Leading off the mail, some letters about our story on the Eli Lilly arthritis drug Oraflex. One viewer asked, if Oraflex didn't have negative effects, would you still have reported the story? What are you people going to expect when a miracle cure is discovered for cancer? You honestly believe that every drug has to be completely safe? But another viewer said, maybe next time Lilly executives should test drugs like Oraflex on themselves and their families before administering them to the public. About our story on the FBI undercover agent, a viewer wrote, your story was obviously slanted. It strikes me that had the FBI not fired him, you would have slanted the story to point out that the FBI was harboring a known shoplifter. About the story we closed with last week, the one done by the Australian 60 Minutes, we got one letter we knew we were going to get. Your Australian counterparts may have copied your name and format, but they certainly blazed a trail in at least one area. They have a woman on their 60 Minutes team. Finally, a viewer thought we had set a bad example with that story. The airing of the Australian 60 Minutes piece proved to be nothing more than a perfect display of your laziness. If you, a national institution, are not willing to work, how in the hell can we motivate those on the unemployment lines? I'm Harry Reisner. We'll be back next week with another edition of 60 Minutes.
Air France
Concorde.
You want me to revise the cost estimate, pull in the cotton production figures, get all the projections, and send you the whole presentation to the Paris office by 5.
By Paris time.
Bon voyage.
I'm counting on you.
You're a professional. When the pressure's on, people know they can rely on you.
Larry, we have a lot to do.
That's why you rely on office automation from Digital. Digital Equipment Corporation provides office solutions for professionals.
I'll send it to Paris.
From one terminal, right on your desk, Digital makes it easy to create graphics, write reports,
We should be landing just about now.
even send electronic mail.
It's all on its way to Paris.
Bonjour, mes amis. The world's largest computer company doesn't do that.
Le communiqué de New York.
Terrific. But the world's second largest does.
Well, I guess we made it.
Digital Equipment Corporation. Computers for professionals from professionals.
Presenting 3 cars you can actually fall in love with. Dodge Selby Charger. Your heart will beat faster for $82.90. Dodge 600 ES, a high-tech sports sedan at $94.72. Dodge 400 convertible. For just $99.95, we'll give you the sun. We've also got a way to protect something you love. Dodge's 550 protection plan. A little love and something to protect it. At your Dodge dealer.
Now on other select new Dodge cars and trucks, get 9/8 financing or cash back.
Monday,
We're in business. We're gonna make millions.
has MASH invented the hula hoop? And on One Day at a Time, Barbara fixes Ann up with Mark's dad.
So you had a good time.
Then, on Cagney and Lacey,
It makes me a better cop.
How much do you take anyway?
a boyfriend's cocaine habit puts Cagney on the line. All Monday.
I'm Walter Cronkite, your host for an unusual television event. Join me for I, Leonardo, A Journey of the Mind.
Tuesday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Why should I care? Why should I let it touch me? Why should I care? Why should I let it touch me?
Better?
Later tonight, Newhart takes a stand and gets a seat on the city council. But first, is Matt kidding around, or would he really help Jenny in a custody battle with her ex-husband? On Goodnight Beantown, next.
Be very good, too. It's a beautiful day.
On the CBS Wednesday night movies, Karen Valentine is a cop, a mother, and a woman. It's tough to be all three.
You could get shot.
Muggable Mary, Street Cop, Wednesday.
Dan Rather. TV Guide says he's a caring, committed man on camera as well as off. Superb, authoritative, reports the Baltimore Sun, and the Associated Press calls him the leading anchorman in the United States. People whose business is news know who's best in the business. Dan Rather. He brings the world home to you.
This is CBS.
Employers can conduct classes, special projects, or on-the-job training for people in need of job skills. And the Idaho Private Industry Council will pay up to 50% of the trainees' wages. You, too, can conduct your own job training program while we pay part of the cost. Call 1-800-233-5312 today.
Mrs. Green, may I speak to you for a moment? How are you enjoying your solar system?
We don't have a solar system.
Why not? You're paying for one every 4 to 5 years.
What do you mean?
As energy costs keep going up, you're paying the extra cost of one anyway.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Invest your money in your home instead of paying it out in bills. Call Sunquest Solar Systems today and let them explain it to you.